Hearing Happiness. Deafness Cures in History. By Jaipreet Virdi. Published by the University of Chicago Press. None of the medicines that are advertised to the public as deafness cure will cure deafness, nor will a good many of the hearing devices that are advertised. Quote from Arthur J. Cramp, Director of the Propaganda Department, American Medical Association, 1929. Preface. My friend Aaron and I attended the same special class for hearing-impaired children, and became friends when we were in grade 6. We lost touch and drifted apart sometime at the end of our high school years, partly because we were at different schools, and partly because our lives were heading down different paths. For most of our lives, Aaron and I were told we were hard of hearing, though we were both audiologically classified as profoundly deaf. As such, we grew up experiencing struggles of identity formation. Aaron found a sense of belonging in deaf culture. I struggled to pass as hearing, and finally asserted my deafness in my 30s after continuous difficulties transitioning from analog to digital hearing aids. Perhaps it was serendipity, but not long after my assertion, Aaron and I realized we had both settled in the same city, a few blocks from each other. We had kept in touch over the years, but it was in this city where our friendship blossomed. Because I was working on this book, many of our conversations centered on the meanings of deafness and identity through history, on hereditary deafness and the impact it has on families, on cochlear implants, on community and belonging, and on historical definitions of deafness. Aaron reminded me that discussions about hearing being restored after being lost do not fit with the discourse of deafness and deaf culture, because most deaf people were born deaf and thus never had any hearing to lose. I should clarify then that this is a book about oralist experiences of deafness, hardness of hearing, and hearing impairment, not cultural deafness, though that is not to say that the deaf do not figure in the story. My aim is not to deny the richness of deaf culture, but to enrich our understanding of a nuanced and considerably underrepresented aspect of deaf history, that of the medical and technological avenues for curing hearing loss. Most of the actors in this book are those we would classify as hard of hearing and largely relied on oral communication. That is not to say that these actors themselves may have, or have not, considered themselves as deaf or deaf. I've adhered to the historical record as faithfully as possible, so I use terms such as deaf and dumb, deaf mutes, hearing impaired, or deafened as people at the time used them.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?